That's correct.
I'm sure the listeners will immediately notice that we've changed the microphones this week.
Well, that's the question, isn't it? I mean, for some, it's become a bit of a habit of the podcast.
Yeah.
For us to change the mics every week.
Can I turn the mic level down?
The headphone level? Yeah, go for it. Yeah, that's all right.
All right.
Here we go.
Dan, SM7s this week, everyone?
The SM7. Here we are. We've moved to the what you might call it the quintessential podcaster's mic, the YouTuber's mic of choice, more than anything.
Yeah.
I was chatting to Cher the other day, friend of the podcast.
Cher Delican.
Cher Delican. He remarked quite rightly that when YouTubers started using the SM7 as their mic of choice, Shure's share price must have just absolutely skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Because it's like having, like you're a drummer, you have simple endorsements, and that's
Istanbul, best cymbals in the game.
There you go. That's for Matthew Ingram is endorsed by Istanbul.
They actually are.
And they're this week's sponsor.
No, they're not.
Get there, no. So like obviously that's for exposure for the brand, and that's for like you playing gigs, hopefully people taking photos and videos and whatnot. But YouTube is an audience that's much, much bigger than and people sit there for an hour with a Shure product right in front of you and the name of it on the back.
I would say it, but it's not just about visibility. The product's really, we're not sponsored by Shure, but SM7s are great.
Yeah, but I mean they're so popular now that they're starting to get backlash, like all popular things.
From what's the backlash?
Well, you know how like the U87 is now sort of like no, there's not that many people, not many engineers going around going like, U87 is just.
But do you think that's because of its popularity? The U87's popularity?
I think there is a little bit of that, actually. Remember when we got a U87?
Yeah.
And U87, by the way, Neumann U87, one of the most famous microphones of all time, used on many, 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 many pop records and just general records of the 90s and 2000s. I'm happy to be corrected on that by people who know more about making records.
Who actually recorded records in the 90s.
They were probably just using it to like, if a nail needed hammering in, they were just like, well, where's that fucking U87?
Hit the assistants.
Yeah. No, I don't want the SM7. No, sorry, the SM57. You know.
I'm not sure that there's a backlash against U87s. I haven't heard that.
But you're not like, it's not your first choice of our selection, is it?
No,
a lot of the time.
I mean, I don't hate U87s at all, but they're okay.
But that's what I mean. But they're actually clearly brilliant because they're all over so many records that have sold millions and millions and millions and continue to stream millions and millions.
Okay, but let's talk about like backlash against mics. There's no backlash against the the 57, the Shure 57. Everyone just agrees that like that on snare they work. Apart from Steve Albini.
Steve Albini doesn't. Steve Albini says, what's his quote?
They're not even a microphone.
If you need a microphone and you don't have one, I guess this would do.
But like no one's going to argue with the fact that they're like 80 quid. It's not like you're forking out.
Yeah, I don't think anyone objects to the price. It's more just I think there is. It's not said there's hype. Like any recording studio worth its salt has a SM. Unless you're like unless your studio game is just like we record vocals and we program, which is, to be fair, a lot of studios. But any actual recording studio where you have a selection, you've got to have a 57 in there. I think it's like the NS10s of studios. Personally, it's like you turn up, you know what to get from it. I don't think it's. I mean, I've recently gone back to using it again.
Sorry, you've gone back to using the SM7?
The SM57.
Oh, the 57. On what?
This is getting confusing for people who don't know their mics.
Yeah, well.
So the SM57, you see at gigs on on
Guitar cabs and snares.
Guitar cabs and snares. Yeah, it's sort of it's like very much like the SM58, which is almost like the archetypal,
the vocal one.
The vocal.
But anyway, you've gone back to using 57s again.
Yeah, despite the fact that I don't personally regard it as the best mic for anything.
Right.
But most of the time it's good enough.
Yeah.
Or, on a guitar. I don't think I would use it solely on a guitar amp. But that plus, say, a 41 gives you a lot of, a big old range of this and that. But this is potentially where the dialogue comes in with the community.
Yeah, let us know.
Feel free to disagree. Any recording engineers that are listening.
What's our email address if anyone wants to get in touch?
The email address, I'm glad you mentioned the email address, actually. It is podcast@urchinstudios.co.uk. It's podcast@urchinstudios.co.uk. We've still only had one email. Don't be shy,
So Dan,
you can text us.
What was your jump? You said you had a jumping off point this week.
A jumping off point. My jumping off point is my track of the week.
Ah, yes.
Which is "Oh Superman" by Laurie Anderson.
You could have told me about this before, and then I would listen to it.
Oh, you don't know
and had something to say about it. No.
Oh, you don't. Have you not? You not know it?
No.
I was thinking about whether to tell you what it was.
Yeah.
And I didn't, because I just sort of thought it would be something that it just seemed like the kind of we've known each other so long.
Tell me about it.
And it just seemed like the sort of track that you know about. Okay, so the reason shall I try and describe? I'm going to describe why it's my track of the week first, and I'm going to refer to that app again that I'm always referring to until we get the sponsorship.
Okay, yeah.
So right, well.
I didn't set the alarm again. Let's just do 20 minutes.
It's like, no, we have not been talking for 10 minutes. Yeah.
Whatever. Okay.
Anyway, so "Oh Superman" is a track that came out in 1981. It is. I think it went. I did look into it a little bit. It's the. I think it went to number 2 in the charts in 1981. I think it's about 8.5 minutes long.
Wow.
It's not a 3-minute pop song. It starts with a loop of Laurie's voice just going like, ha, 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 ha. I'm almost certain
I think I do know this song.
Yeah.
I think I do know this song.
And the vocal is vocoder. So
yeah.
It goes, "Oh, Superman. Da-da-da-da."
Yeah.
And the reason it's exploded on TikTok all of a sudden,
okay.
Which I think is an interesting. I want to talk about that in itself in a minute. Basically, what happened is a young woman posted a TikTok of she's got a photo of her grandmother or something, and she's reflecting on the fact that she's 23 or something, and her grandmother in the photo is also 23.
Okay,
and kind of how similar they look to each other.
Yeah,
and the lyric because obviously TikTok is little snippets of sound, is "You don't know me, but I know you," in this very robotic kind of voice.
Yeah.
And it's this really interesting kind of juxtaposition of it's quite, you can see in this little video, which is like 10 seconds long, it's an emotional moment of like connection, thinking about your past. And also she's added a quote underneath which says, "I wear the faces of all the women that came before me."
Right.
Which is like, there's loads to kind of dig into and reflect on there.
Yeah.
What's weird about that quote is I can't find it anywhere, but it seems so quotable. But anyway.
Maybe she just came up with it,
yeah. Anyway. And again, what's unusual with TikTok trends is you don't often know what the source is, but it just happened, the original one happened to pop up my feed. But what it got me thinking about was that the actual song in itself, it's all this machinery. It feels very mechanical because it's vocoder, it's loops, kind of, I guess they're tape loops. 1981 could be synced to something, but the emotion of the track is very powerful. It's got live strings on it, or something like live strings.
Strings are always emotional.
Yeah, but even so, it's fascinating how, you know, even these pieces of, you know, vocoder we don't associate with being sort of an emotional storytelling device. It's all more like Mr. Blue Sky. Do you know what I mean?
I can find vocoders emotional.
Yeah, but it's like, it's a deliberately mechanical kind of sound to it. The other thing that's interesting about the track is that this is the most well-researched thing we've ever mentioned on this podcast in quite a long way. Because I've actually thought about it. The lyrics are almost kind of like an anti-war. Well, I think they are anti-war, but the lyrics of the whole 8-minute track predominantly reflect on kind of American imperialism and the war machine and such like. But this TikTok, in taking a little slice of it, you don't know me, but I know you, is like it turns this piece of music into something completely different.
Right. And
I think I'm not saying that that's bastardizing the original meaning. In fact, I think what's fascinating about that idea to me is that it's like how we get inspired by things, you know. It's you hear something and it's like you pull it out of its original, if you like, its nest, like it's where the original meaning was, and you pluck it out and then you throw it into some other kind of context.
Well, I mean, just as a broader point, doesn't art always get repurposed?
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, I mean, there's obviously a really obvious example of that Sting song that's Every Breath You Take, which is not, you know, so many people, you know, because it's basically a song about a sort of jealous lover.
Yeah.
A slightly stalky thing.
Jealous ex-lover, isn't it?
Whereas like people just put their own whatever they want it to mean.
Put it on at their wedding.
And stuff. But if you're about to enter a coercive relationship with someone and you're getting married, then you should have that song. But I mean, obviously, like I mean, I've had conversations with people about songs that I've worked on, and they've told me what that song means to them.
Yeah,
and
they're wrong.
I wouldn't say wrong. I mean, that wasn't what their interpretation of it wasn't a conversation in the room whilst we were making it. Let's just say that.
Right. Okay.
You know,
okay.
And
do you have a specific example of that? Just
do I have a specific example of that? Yeah. I wrote a song with Jordan Mackampa called "Teardrops in a Hurricane."
Great song.
Thank you.
I think I mixed it, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah.
Yes, you did, Dan.
Yeah.
You didn't ruin that one.
Yeah. Off his EP. It's off an EP, isn't it?
It's off an EP, yeah. And I was chatting to someone about the kind of the meaning of that and what it meant. I can't remember what they thought it meant, but it wasn't quote unquote what was intended. And it was just interesting. And I you know, as someone that was in the right, I didn't think, I need to correct you now.
Right. Okay.
I was like, oh, that's cool. And that's cool that if it means that to you, and they really liked it, but they had a positive. And they didn't say, well, that was lazy songwriting.
Yeah. Just thinking about love again. No one ever complains about that, do they?
No. I was like, well, that's cool. But I mean, there's something I always say to artists is that, like, you know, you can't control how this is going to be received.
Right. Yes.
You have no.
That's a very important point.
You have no control over that.
Yeah. And well, that's interesting as well, because often artists are anxious about how something will be received. What are people going to think? And sometimes they'll vocalize specific things, like, I don't know, I just don't want anyone to leave any mean comments on YouTube or anything. You know, I've heard that one a few times.
Yeah.
I think the truth of it is that in any artistic endeavor, but, you know, I don't want to say especially music, but I'm going to say especially music anyway, because it's the one I understand.
Yes.
The artist takes a piece of something personal to them,
Yes,
and puts it out to be exposed to the world.
Yes,
and there's a vulnerability in that, isn't there?
And I think that's where the nervousness comes from. But I don't know. I mean, I think some songs that I've worked on have a very specific meaning, and then other songs are more, let's say, open to interpretation.
I thought you were going to say like just a vibe.
A vibe, just a vibe. Some are a vibe.
Yeah, a vibe. A vibe is cool.
Yeah, and a vibe is great.
A vibe is as important as an emotional moment.
Yeah.
Considering the legacy of your family or whatnot.
Yeah. So, who knows? Right, my jumping off point this week, and a question I wanted to ask you was...
We're so structured this week. Jeez.
Well, so let me put this question into context first. So this weekend, it's, early December, I went to my first Christmas party. There's some friends of ours have a Christmas party. And for a giggle, a group, and it's my people I know through my kids, so we're all dads, mums and dads. We got like a dad band together.
Yeah. What was the lineup?
So it was me on bass.
Yeah.
And then
it's always a good start.
3 other friends, one guy on keys and 2 guys on like acoustics.
Okay.
And
I'll say no drums. Okay.
And it was, I'm not a great bass player. They're not professional musicians, but it was just a fucking hoot.
Right.
We had so much fun doing it, and also it was, we sort of did a sort of a Christmas set, and we handed out lyrics, and all the kids are there.
Okay.
There's a lot of the kids have got sleigh bells, and everyone's singing along, and
that must have been quite fatiguing on the top end. More than one set of sleigh bells in a room.
Do you know what I would say as well? Sleigh bells are really loud.
Yeah.
So if try and hand them to someone with good time. That's all I'm going to say. But anyway,
they are quite forgiving on top. Anyway,
they are quite forgiving, actually. Yeah, they're not like tambourines. But anyway, the point is that it was the first time in quite a long time I've done music just for fun.
Right.
I do music because I'm providing a service and there's a need for the thing that I do, right?
Okay, yeah.
Which I love. But I was just thinking, it's one of those moments of thinking, fucking hell, music's great. We're all there, all the families there, all the kids are there. The kids are fucking loving it.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, music is so great. But
so did you have to pick songs that the kids knew?
The kids, yeah, we did. And the kids know Christmas songs. And by the way,
so it was all Christmas songs.
The kids love Last Christmas. That's just, they all know it, and they all sang along. It's a banger.
That feels very surprising.
Yeah, I mean, it's
in some way, just because there's so many Christmas songs that are a hoot.
Yeah,
I don't know if Last Christmas is. It's a great song.
Sad banger.
It's a sad banger. Oh right, yeah.
But anyway, the point is, it's it made me think about how being a professional changes your relationship with music. Okay. And I'm not saying that as a negative, because I love my job. I love doing music, but when it's your living, your relationship with it's just different, because I'm obviously working as a collaborator. So you're, like I said, providing a service to somebody else. And like I said, that was the first time I just did something just for the fuck of doing it.
Right.
Let me put that over to you. How has working in music and being a professional musician changed your relationship with music, do you think?
Okay. Well, we've been doing this a long time now. It's hard to say how it was before, I think I think so much has changed in the way that we listen to music. It's kind of hard to pin that down, because definitely as a teenager before, and when did I start when did we set up Urchin?
2007.
So I was 23 or so.
But also, just to put this into context, we met through doing music for the love of it.
Yeah, we were in a band together.
We were in a band together, and you know, the energy in our band, the Frake, was like, "This is fun. Let's get it." Well, there didn't seem any other ulterior motive than just the fun of doing it.
We didn't have an agenda. We weren't trying to make it big.
Yeah,
we weren't trying to get signed. We weren't trying to. We tried to make an album. Well, we did. We just didn't finish it.
Yeah,
but
like that was the seed of our collaboration.
Okay.
You know?
So that's so there's a couple of stages there, because there's me as a teenager listening to music, and then I think if you're creating music non-professionally, I wouldn't count that as being professional, because by definition we were just doing it because we wanted to.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple of stages. I think doing that changes your relationship, like changing from being 100% listener of music, consumer.
Yeah.
Whatever, to sort of making it, and you start to, that changes your relationship with music. I would say that was probably more where it changed than from I don't think the professionalism matters so much to me, except for one thing, which I'll say in a sec.
Yeah.
But once you go from listener to creator, I think the way that you listen to music does change, because you start trying to learn songs.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that you maybe you haven't even thought about this. Maybe you've always been trying to learn songs. I don't know. But, I started guitar when I was like 14 or something, which is late for some and not for others. But, you know, it's not like I was taking piano lessons at 4 or anything like some people. You know, I'm not fundamentally a particularly good... I've got a musical brain, but it's like I'm not very proficient at an instrument, you know, in the way that many people we work with are.
Yeah, but your jumping off point was more engineering, production.
Yeah, but that did come out of trying to record the band.
And that, it did come out playing guitar first as well, right?
Yeah, and a relationship with sound that was fairly kind of experimental. And I think my first recordings I had a digital 4-track, which is not great stuff. But at the time, it was the thing. But in hindsight, I'm like, I wish that was a tape 4-track, but whatever. I was like recording bits of audio off the TV through the built-in mic and looping them and putting effects on them.
Really?
I thought that was kind of...
I didn't know this.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of interesting, like snippets of Red Dwarf with some echo on, or like, I don't know, just like Terry Wogan doing whatever that... whatever.
Yeah. Have you still got them, Dan? I'd like to hear them.
Wow, they're on this very, very terrible record, like kind of precursor to the SD card, which is called, I think it was called Smart Media.
Right.
And the maximum size, I think the maximum size that format has ever been is 128 megabytes.
Okay. Is that like an email?
It's not like an email, but it's like 12 minutes of music.
Okay.
And they were really expensive.
Okay.
So I
but
think,
have you still got the audio?
I believe it'll probably still be on the cards.
Right.
If I can get them off the damn thing.
Yeah.
You know.
I've got some cassettes of my first recording experience.
Right.
In my room.
Okay.
It's me and my friend Dom. I'd have a cassette recorder.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd just play like Metallica songs and like riffs that we'd made up. And I haven't heard it for ages. I need to get them off cassette. But anyway.
Yeah.
But going back to...
So nowadays...
Yeah.
I feel like the biggest change for me is that if I'm working on music on a given day, I definitely probably at the end of the day, I don't really feel like listening to any more music.
That's the big one.
Yeah.
That is the big one for me as well.
Yeah.
Music, I think when you're a professional, music, you don't do music to relax anymore like I used to. Or if I do, it's music that has nothing to do with what I'm doing. So I'll listen to Beethoven 7 or something, whatever, something that's totally unrelated.
Yeah. I mean, if like on Friday when I was doing like starting an EP, I was listening to the reference tracks on my way in. Actually, was I? That's probably what I meant to do. I think I ended up listening to something completely unrelated. But I do. Yeah.
But that's not to say that I don't enjoy listening to music.
Yeah.
Because I do. But I just remember when I first started
You're going to say it occupies something.
I just think it occupies a different place. Like before I kind of went 100% professional,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, all I did was listen.
We're still waiting for that, mate.
Well, in my early 20s,
We're going to talk about your attitude in a minute.
I just, that's really the only thing that I did was listen to music.
Right.
And then the more professional I become, I still probably listen to as much music, but it's just through the prism through which I view it is just slightly different.
So just to rewind a sec.
Yeah.
When you say you would do it, did you say you did the point at which you did music full-time professionally?
Mm-hmm.
How much of that was kind of at that point drumming and production, or were you counting? We started, 2000 and we weren't. Neither of us were full-time when we started, were we? But
No. So really, when I was 25, I still just wanted to be a drummer.
Yeah.
The thought of I was kind of interested in the production thing, but it felt too big.
Okay.
I thought, I don't know how to do that.
I forget how big it is sometimes as
And
well.
it is big. And you only realize how big it is when you talk to people that are on the beginning of that journey.
Yeah.
And you're like, God, shit, there is a lot to learn here. But at the time, I was doing gigs and doing part-time jobs.
Yeah.
So I was working in a school. I was doing in function band. So the music that I listened to with this kind of longing represented, I want to be a part of this. This music that I'm listening to.
I want to join this.
Yeah, I want to join this. I don't want to be playing. I don't want to be working in a school, and I don't want to be playing, Disco Inferno at functions. This is not the music I'm interested in. And a lot of it was the music that was happening at the time, plus catalog. But
Yeah.
But really, it was really when we opened Urchin that when I was 28, that's when I stopped having any other jobs.
Yeah.
And was just, we had work.
We had not. Well, we did a little bit to begin with, didn't we? Because we were working with people that we knew. And I actually saw Kevin Malloy on Friday.
Shout out Kevin Malloy.
Our very first client. And he was explaining to someone how he was our very first client.
Our first client. Yeah, that was brilliant.
I think I still have that recording somewhere.
Really?
Yeah. It's like time's sort of... time's getting on is the wrong phrase, but it is getting quite hard to sort of remember where all the recordings are of everything,
A lot of those recordings that we did in the early days, I'm fine if they stay buried.
So it's that, sometimes I want to listen to them just for nostalgia, even the stuff that's not very good.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it wasn't very good.
No, but some of it was. I've also definitely still got the CD of the recording of Jeremy Walmsley playing our opening party.
Oh wow, wow!
Which was
that's like really going back.
It's all on. I think it's all on piano, and we didn't even have a real piano in those days.
We had an electric. We had an electric, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, wow.
And he played.
But yeah, no, go on.
I was going to say he played in the wee small hours of the morning by
that's a good song.
Frank Sinatra. It's a great song.
Great song.
That could be your song of the week if you haven't got one.
I don't have one. Oh my God, we've got 42 seconds left.
42 seconds. Okay.
I haven't done. Do you know? I don't have a plugin of the week.
No, I
haven't thought about that.
No. I mean, I was just
that
doing...
feature can come and go.
Absolutely. And song of the week. It's just a nice thing to have.
So look, but basically, before we go, this is week 4.
I think it's week 5, actually.
Oh my God. So just to say to our loyal viewer,
our loyal listener, our 36 to 42 listeners or something like that.
We'll probably do 2 more of these, right? And then take a little Christmas break.
There will be a Christmas break, yeah.
We should obviously do a Christmas special.
We're going to do a Christmas special. I think the Christmas special will probably be just talking about Christmas songs.
Yeah.
So that probably will be. But there it is.
You hear that?
Time's up.
Cue music.
Will you start the fans, please? Do you remember that?
I love that. Do you remember that? What was Peak Television? Crystal Maze
with Richard O'Brien. Yeah.